Good morning or good afternoon or evening to all of you, depending where you are around the globe. And thank you very much for your virtual presence. As Claire said, I'm the head of photography at the University of Art and Design of Lausanne in Switzerland. And first of all, I would like to thank Michael and Claire for the organization and invitation for this talk, and congratulate them about the wonderful program of the Belfast Photo Festival 2021. So I'm currently speaking to you from ECAL in Lausanne. The school is located in a huge reconverted industrial building in the French part of Switzerland, in western part, just in front of the Geneva Lake, not far from the Alps. A 3-hour high-speed train from Paris and Milan, right in the middle of Europe. As Claire has been said, in September 2016, we launched the new Master in Photography program, and together with the Master, we started a research project called Augmented Photography, dedicated to the drastic shifting condition of photography nowadays. And we focus the research project in 2 directions. The first one on the materialized photography, on the physicality. So we try to bring photography in the 3rd physical dimension through installation and sculpture. And the second part is about the dematerialization of photography. So after the digitalization of the media, how photography became data and fluid. In the Master of Photography at the CAL, we are interested in photographic images, but the aim is no longer necessary to work only on photographs made using traditional optical, chemical, or digital processes, but also to create photorealistic images of scenes that, in reality, have never existed. This is not a photograph. It is an image with photographic qualities, entirely created by a computer. It is a CGI, computer-generated imagery. We practice also photogrammetry, a method of serial shooting all around the subject to then import the result in a 3D into a digital space. We develop augmented reality, AR projects that are, through interfaces and screens, superpose digital augmentation on the physical world. And finally, we produce virtual realities, VR, parallel worlds that can be visited through headset with integrated screens, allowing sensory and spatial immersion. Back to the main subject of the talk, I'm going to try to explain you how artificial intelligence play an increasingly important role in the production and distribution of photography. The talk is divided in 5 chapters. Chapter number 1, AI from science fiction to reality, is a quick overview of artificial intelligence in popular culture, in real life, and through the opinion of experts. Chapter number 2, about attention economy. We consider to live in an oversaturated information society, and our attention becomes scarce, and the market fight for our attention. Chapter number 3, from analog to computational photography. I will propose a fast forward look into 2 centuries of the evolution of photography. Chapter number 4, tap on your screen, we do the rest. I will show you a quick overview from smartphones to computer software powered by AI. And to conclude on chapter number 5, I will speak about photographic images that are made without a camera. I will start with the quote of the famous American artist Trevor Paglen, which is not only an artist, but also a geographer and a researcher that really scope the field of machine learning and machine vision. So There is really no point. Mid-eye are far too inefficient to see what's going on anyway. Nowadays, operational images are overwhelmingly invisible, even as they are ubiquitous and sculpting physical reality in even more dramatic ways. We have long known that images can kill. What's new is that nowadays they have their fingers on the trigger. Chapter number 1, AI from science fiction to reality. Starting with The Terminator, a 1984 science fiction film directed by James Cameron. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, a cyborg assassin sent back in time from 2029 to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor, whose son will one day save mankind from the extinction planned by Skynet, a hostile artificial intelligence in a post-apocalyptic future. This is not the eye of the Terminator, but the mechanical eye of HAL 9000, the supercomputer guiding the spacecraft Discovery 1 in 2001, A Space Odyssey, a science fiction film produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick in 1968. The film followed the voyage to Jupiter with the sentient computer HAL and a group of pilots and scientists. Most of the spacecraft operations are controlled by the supercomputer, a machine with a human personality. Mission Control advises the astronauts that the computer is in error, but HAL attributes the error to humans. Concerned about the supercomputer behavior, the astronaut agree to disconnect the machine. HAL followed their conversation by a lip reading and start to kill part of the crew. Blade Runner was directed by Ridley Scott in 1982. It has been a commercial failure and received a first negative critical reception, but today it is a science fiction cult. The film is set in Los Angeles in 2019, so the last year, where former police officer Rick Decker has the mission to track down replicants, bioengineered humanoids virtually identical to humans. Deckard used a test which is designed to distinguish replicants from human based on their emotional responses to questions, analyzing the movement of the iris of the eye. The replicants have great cognitive capacities, but lower emotional responses. Back to reality. Today, the artificial intelligence is everywhere, not only in super powerful weapons, but also in little, friendly, domestic objects like Google Home or Amazon Alexa, a virtual AI assistant technology capable of voice detection, music playback, making to-do lists, setting alarms, streaming podcasts, playing audiobooks, and providing weather, traffic, sport, and other real-time information. In the street, self-driving autonomous cars are guided by AI that must see, understand, and react to unpredictable and constantly changing situations. In our pocket, little but powerful smartphone managed with AI our everyday life. Recently, in June 2021, an article on the New York Times announced a United Nations report suggested that a drone used against militia fighters in Libya civil war may have selected a target autonomously. And this is the Elon Musk warning. AI does not need to aid us to destroy us. In a sense, that if it decides that it needs to go in a particular direction and we are in the way, then it will, without no hard feeling, roll over us. We will roll over an anthill that is in the way of a road. You don't hate ants. You are just building a road. It's a risk, not a prediction. We really need to think of intelligence as really not being uniquely confined to humans. Other experts like Andrew Ng, a specialist in AI and a professor in Stanford, are much more optimistic. He says, worrying about AI turning evil is a little bit like worrying about overpopulation on Mars. But Stephen Hawking, the British famous theoretical physicist, said, the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. Okay, let's stop with articles, opinions, popular culture, and let's have a look to the dictionary. What is an artificial intelligence? Is the theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence, such as visual perceptions, speech recognition, decision-making, and translation between languages. Part of artificial intelligence, the neural networks or neural nets are algorithmic computer systems inspired by the operation of neurons in the human brain. Algorithms based on such networks are already used in automated facial recognition, recognizing, categorizing, and matching patterns. And then machine learning and artificial intelligence is a discipline concerned with the implementation of computer software that can learn autonomously. And then now we are in the chapter number 2 about attention economy, which is a fundamental criterion adopted by the multinationals which govern our economy online and consequently our virtual lives. With the rise of the internet, a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention and a need to allocate that attention efficiently. Another quote from the wonderful book of Jonathan Crary, 24/7, Late Capitalism and the End of Sleep. In the 1990, Dr. Eric Schmidt, who became the CEO of Google, forecast that the 21st century will be synonymous with what he called the attention economy, and that the most successful global companies will be those that maximize the number of eyeballs they could consistently connect and control. The difficulty to find a proper searching tool managing hundreds of millions of digital and digitalized images was crucial for the history of image technology. Today, many algorithms are in use to select, classify, enhance, or discard the network images. The algorithms are customizable and capable to select best image and to propose a curated content. As an example, I took a screenshot from AM. It's a powerful AI device, a service. And the company say every photo is automatically tagged and captioned with concrete objects and keywords. So I try with a portrait of myself. The bird was a bit longer. So I upload the picture, and I'm happy because the aesthetic seems rated really good with 88%. And then you can read a lot of different tags like beard, facial hair, front view, indoors, etc. In the age of streaming, the visual products offered to each viewer are the result of computational optimization between mainstream products and personalized environment. generated by artificial intelligence. In Hollywood, the company Volt AI offers producer machine learning services trained on the preferences of millions of people to determine the commercial power of a script. Other companies like Synalytic evaluate the returns on investment of different casting configuration using artificial intelligence. Nick Nelson, the global director of creative service at Netflix explains that the behavior and choices of its users are fundamentally based on their visual instincts. Machine learning is proving to be very effective and personalizing auto-generated navigation thumbnails to ensure that users engage for as long as possible on the platform and consume as much media as possible. Netflix algorithms analyze films to extract a multitude of stills with the highest potential draw for each title. And here you can see on the slides an example from Stranger Things and how different the thumbnails can be then be displayed on several Netflix user profiles. Netflix personalized this decision based on how much a member prefer different genres and themes. Someone who has watched many romantic comedy may be interested in Good Will Hunting if the artwork contains a love scene. On the contrary, if a member who has watched many comedies but less romantic movies might be attracted to the movie if the artwork contains Robin Williams, a well-known comedian. In another scenario, the different preferences for a cast member might influence the personalization of artwork for the movie Pulp Fiction. A member who watched many movies featuring Uma Thurman will likely respond positively to the artwork for Pulp Fiction that contains Uma. Meanwhile, a fan of John Travolta may be more interested in watching Pulp Fiction if the artwork features John. Chapter number 3. I risk to summarize 200 years of photography in 3 slides. So I'm already sorry about this very brutal condensation of photography history. In 1827, Nicephore Niepce succeeded for the first time in permanently fixing a photographic image, the eye point of view where one can see a group of houses and fields. Since pioneering experiments in photography in early 19th century with automatic transcription of light on sensitive surfaces, photography is a tool that offers the machine a certain independence from the human. Toward the end of the 19th century, with the Kodak camera, photography became more accessible, economical, and democratic, supported by a powerful slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest." The hegemony of Kodak and the analog photography has lasted for more than a century. But in the 90s, photography became digital, and through its dematerialization, it lost its contacts with reality. Once coded, images become easily manipulated by editing software. The image depicts Photoshop's inventor's Jon Snow's wife, Jennifer, on a beach in Bora Bora. The picture was delivered with the first demo version of the software to try out the powerful digital tools which could, for example, produce a clone of Jennifer. Here is the clue. Okay. Some years later, at the beginning of the 21st century, with this today alarming slogan, the first iPhone was released. This is only the beginning. Steve Jobs, founder and CEO of Apple, presented an object that has drastically changed our relationship to photography. The first iPhone, a smartphone, was born with its large touchscreen, its integrated photographic camera, and its permanent connection to the web. Nowadays, smartphone cameras are the most popular in the world. And even if this type of camera has a weak optical image, this type of has a weak optical image and is physically too small to offer high performance, its power is increased by algorithms that translate imprecise light information into data for a brighter, more real reality. The smartphone camera are still partially a lens-based camera. This is the physical part of the camera, in the slide you are looking at. And the scheme shows from the left side a series of lenses reaching on the right side, first a diagram which modulates the quantity of light that can reach the captor visualized on the right-hand side. After the physical part of the camera come the computational photography, powered by AI, for the calculation and render of the finalized picture. The slide shows you the pipeline, a series of pictures that were taken before and after the user pressed the button. Yes, you understand it well. The camera is essentially filming the scene, and when you press the button, you notify your interest in turning that moment into a photo. This recalculated computational photography merge overexposed and underexposed images, stack photos with different focus, reduce the noise of the picture, correct the tone of certain part of the image through a series of shots taken in parallel. This is possible because the smartphone knows what you are looking at. In 2017, Apple introduced the Apple Neural Engine, accelerating neural networks operation like the new Face ID, a facial recognition technology. Face ID uses a true depth camera system, which consists of sensor, cameras, and a dots projector at the top of the iPhone display to create a detailed 3D map of your face. Every time you look at your phone, the system conducts an authentication check, enabling your device to be unlocked or your payment to be done. This is how your iPhone sees you. In a recent ad, Apple stresses that Face ID only stores mathematical representation of your face on the iPhone, not a photo. But I'm not sure if you are less afraid of leaving your 3D model of your face or a photograph. The artwork of Gohan Keller from ECAL visualize the powerful but questionable potentiality of the smartphone face detection system. The project interesting place with these two representational systems between mathematical model and a photography, between identification and identity. It makes visible the infrared lights projected by the phone on the face in order to compare the 3D model with the recorded equivalent. The new potentialities of the smartphones are related to the field of machine or computer vision, a field that is boosted by artificial intelligence. And this is the quote from the dictionary. Machine or computer vision, a field of robotic in which programs attempt to identify objects represented in digitalized images provided by video cameras, thus enabling robots to see. And then again, a quote from the artist, the American artist Trevor Pagan, which is to me crucial in visualizing and the understanding of machine vision and computer vision. Seeing machine is an expansive definition of photography. It is intended to encompass the myriad ways that not only humans use technology to see the world, but the ways machines see the world for other machines. Seeing machines include familiar photographic devices and categories like viewfinder cameras and photosensitivist film and papers, but quickly move far beyond that. It embraces everything from iPhone to airport security backscatter imaging devices, from electro-optical reconnaissance satellites in low Earth orbit to QR code readers at supermarket checkouts, from border checkpoints, facial recognition surveillance cameras to privatized network of automated license plate recognition system, and from military wide area airborne surveillance systems to the roving cameras on board of legions of Google Street View cars. And this quote comes from a very, very interesting blogs that I really encourage to look at. It's Photography Over, and is edited by Fotomuseum Winterthur, a very, very good institution here in Switzerland. This is the machine vision of a Tesla. Now you see through the eyes of this car with an overlay of detected objects, movement, and distances. These images are a part of the non-human photography. They are created by machines for other machines with the intention to drive cars autonomously from a human intervention. German photographer and ECAL alumni Philipp Klack reflects upon differences in vision between the human and the machine by automatically selecting random picture from Google's open image dataset. He developed a system to cut out what the image recognition machine learning model by Google Vision AI recognized. In other words, the machine see what is here depicted with the white polygonal shapes, and the remaining area are left to human perception. Fourth chapter, tapped on your screen, we do the rest. Of course, it's I turned the famous Kodak slogan for the 21st century. Use a fantastic set of AI filters, backgrounds, effects, and other tools to create a seamless and photorealistic edit in one tap. You will never have to spend hours photoshopping again. This is the promise of FaceApp, a very popular Russian app for smartphones that can edit photos of people's faces to show younger or older version of themselves. But since the face editing tool went viral, some have raised the concern over its term and condition. The app is powered by AI on an external server. The user pictures are automatically uploaded to the cloud and recalculated before to come back to the smartphone. I tried this on myself. The algorithm makes me smile and takes the input of image of my face and adjusts it on the basis of an image bank consisting of a multitude of photographs. I become a woman. I got younger and older. And this picture has a scary resemblance with my father. In 2017, FaceApp launches ethnicity change filters, then deletes them after a social backlash. The company was highly criticized because of the stereotypical representation of humans. Machine learning is neither neutral or truly autonomous. It has been created and directed by humans. Neural networks only know the part of the world they can give in to see, and are therefore by nature conservative and biased. They can introduce the same racist and misogynist discrimination as is present in civil society. Machine learning is going to change every single aspect of technology, but no machine will be able to mimic the creative ability of the human mind. This is the promise of the CEO of Adobe, made in 2019. In October 2020, the 22nd version of Photoshop was unveiled, offering, with the introduction of neural filters, a major turning point: professional image retouching by artificial intelligence for general public. Photographs are no longer processed only on the user personal machine, on a closed local network, but are sent to the cloud so that neural network operation can be carried out remotely. Are you satisfied with the result? This question is constantly displayed in the Photoshop neural filters window interface and offer users a communication channel with Adobe. Adobe artificial intelligence neural filters accelerate users' workflow with better image quality and more precise customizable settings than the highly automated Taps app offered on the phone. The most spectacular neural filter on Photoshop 22nd is the Smart Portrait, which uses NVIDIA AI style GAN 2 and allows photographic portrait to be modified in depth. I tried out on one of my official portraits, and this is me 10 points happier and 10 points younger. And this is still me, still 10 point happier, but 10 point older. And now we reached the last chapter of my talk, photographic images made without a camera. And I will start to explain to you a bit more about the GANs. I already mentioned the GAN during the explanation about the Photoshop 22 neural filters. And yes, let's read the definition from Wikipedia. A GAN is a generative adversarial network, is a class of machine learning frameworks, and two neural networks contest with each other in a game. The generative network generates candidates while the discriminative networks evaluate them. For example, a GAN trained on photograph can generate new photographs that look at least superficially authentic to human observer, having many realistic characteristics. At the beginning of 2019, NVIDIA presented GoGAN, an online application based on GAN-like artificial intelligence that enabled one to paint photorealistic landscapes. The system has been fed with over 1 million of photographs from Flickr to understand the varying visual relationship between objects and materials that form landscapes. Users are free to choose the location of elements that make up a scene, such as a rock, a tree, a cloud, and they can paint them roughly on the screen in flat colors. That's why the name of Gauguin, the Impressionist painter. The meta algorithm then transforms those childlike drawings into segmentation models and finally translate them into photorealistic images. Behind the basic interface and the user very simple drawing, the GAN's complex calculation are constantly improving their rendering by bringing a mental schematic image closer to an artificial image with photographic qualities. This is the updated interface, and you can play it after my talk. And I tried it out recently with this simple sketch. And this is the result, a photographic image of a landscape, which we dream of after this long period of pandemic. And alongside the development of Gauguin, toward the end of 2018, a group of researchers from NVIDIA unveiled a new architecture for GAN-type neural networks based on the principle of style transfer and the reparation of GANs. One of the most notable applications is showcased on the website This Person Does Not Exist, a generator of photorealistic images of faces of people of all ages, genders, and backgrounds. Sometimes small anomalies in the reconstruction of clothing, in the symmetry of eyes and accessories might clue the attentive public into the artificiality of the images. But generally, the portraits were credible, definitely plausible, in the variety of the expressions, the typology of the people, the slight differences in height, of viewpoint, the orientation of the face, the sophisticated or sloppy qualities in the light, the detail of the hair, of the wrinkles, of the pore, of the skin. Now a quote from Jim Vincent from The Verge. Algorithms are fundamentally conservative because they learn by analyzing what worked in the past. They're unable to account for cultural shifts or changes in taste that will happen in the future. This is a challenge throughout the AI industry, and it can contribute to problems like AI bias. Will machines someday be able to escape computational functioning and prove the existence of a new form of true intelligence and non-human singularity? At the CAL, our most recent research project, Automated Photography, is based on practical processes by applying those new technologies, an aesthetic outlook by analyzing the visual qualities of those devices and their creative potential, and a theoretical approach by placing the practical result in a cultural, social, and political context. I would be really glad to meet you in a physical presence in Paris for the opening of our exhibition, Automated Photography, planned on November 9, 2021, in Espace Comines, in Marais, during the Paris Photo Fair. If you are not able to attend on the 9, I will be more than pleased to see you at the symposium about automated photography planned as well at the Espace Comines Marais in Paris, November 11, 2021. And I really welcome to stay tuned on our dedicated website, automated-photography.ch. And I hope really to see you in the future and discuss about those important topic about AI. So thank you very much for your attention. And then now I'm really glad to answer to some of your questions. So there are already some questions. Jamie House is asking me, hello Milo, what will post-humanism do for photography? um, so I hope, I'm not really into the transhumanism or post-humanism. And honestly, as a teacher at the Cal, I really recommend my students to work in the forest without any electronic device and to try to be as most disconnected as possible from those realities, because it's overwhelming. They are all around us, and they could really be very, very interesting and very efficient, but we can also lose control. So I hope that I didn't paint a too dark scenery about AI and photography. So with also the cultural introduction with the movies like Blade Runner or Terminator or the Space Odyssey. But I think we should be aware that AI today is not capable to evolve without humans. So we call artificial intelligence, but it's not that intelligent yet. But what we can see or know, it's the evolution of AI is very fast. And just thinking about smartphones, how then now integrate AI, I think we should be more than aware about the potentiality, but also the bias of those technologies. Also considering also very bad bias, like selecting people from ethnicity, for example. There are a lot of researches in, especially in the United States, about gender shades, ethnicity, and how the security check camera are actually penalizing people of color, and especially women of color. So yeah, this is my point of view on posthumanism. Then the second question is from Lee Weir. Do you believe photo AI can distinguish between life like androids and humans as part of face recognition? Do we have some androids around us? Not yet, not really, like in Blade Runner. Blade Runner is very interesting, the reference actually as a movie. So the replicants are looking into the eyes, trying to understand if there are a fluctuation of the iris of the pupil, to understand if it is a robot or not. So so this is a kind of speculation based on how we react instinctively when we are sitting in front of someone speaking about some certain thematics. But AI, yes. So the question is not to distinguish between androids and humans right now, but more, as I told you already, is how AI could or not be discrimination from some part of the society. So now this is changing quite radically. Also, I mentioned before the scandal or the criticism around face up, and also the ethnicity filters, and Photoshop, Adobe, they were pretty much aware about those bias, and so they tried to create a database, a more balanced database. So the database is crucial actually in AI. I wasn't that clear, but there are two main critical points in an AI for photography. So it's the database. The database is or the image-based more than database. So it's the collection of pictures that train an AI. So who collect those pictures? Who say these are the right picture, the good picture? So depending on how we feed an AI, then the AI react and replay to us. This is the first point. The second point is the architecture of an AI, the mathematics behind an AI. So if you look at FaceApp, but also in Photoshop, but also other kind of software that are maybe more open than Photoshop, like Runway ML, for example, the architecture of the software provide or give a specific aesthetics. So it's a bit like using a camera. If you choose a big format camera or a small format camera, then you have different results. And in AI, with the artificial intelligence, if you choose one specific architecture in artificial intelligence, then you get different aesthetic results. Okay, now, Ambra, my question is conceptual. As photography is writing with light and assume a certain analog need, once we have AI creating an image, technically, we are not thinking about photography anymore, but rather a drawing, a design, an algorithm. Yeah, but not photography. What do I think? It's a very, very, very nice question. So, of course, the evolution of technology is pretty much bounded with photography since the very beginning, since 1927 is for Niepce, the picture I show you, the first photograph. And this evolution has drastically changed since the 90s when photography became digital. And maybe we can think of that more as an opportunity than a danger. So, for example, photography push the painters to go into abstraction. And this was on the turning of the 20th century, the early 20th century. And now, AI and digital photography push photography to reinvent the idea behind this invention that is there since mostly 200 years, actually. I think it's an opportunity, but it's a kind of revolution. It's a very, very interesting, very stimulating moment. So I'm, of course, not a really conservative person. So I'm really trying out all kind of new tools that are there. And what I can tell you from a very practical point of view, here at the Cal, we still have a black and white lab, for example, a dark room. And I teach to my students, first of all, on the first year bachelors, to use black and white lab and to do analog photography. So I think what is interesting is also to merge very, very large kind of techniques, and then to give to the students, to my students, but also to the public in general, the latitude to pick up and choose the right tools to express their ideas. Then Alejandro Gonzalez, what are your thoughts on the work of forensic architecture, where they use AI and ML, machine learning, to investigate about human rights violations? So yeah, I'm very, very interested in forensic architecture works. So I think it's a very, very interesting group, very powerful, and really they are pushing forward those questions in it's the new documentary way, to say it simply. I think they are capable to merge very important quantity of information to clarify or to unveil things that are very crucial for our political understanding on the power dynamics in current society and politics. So yes, I didn't show many examples of artists today. I was really quite pedagogical, focused on let's say the distribution and then the creation of photography through those AI tools. But if I had 1 more hour, for sure I will be fantastic to show more works, for example, from forensic architecture and Trevor Paglen and Paolo Sirio and many others. But if you come to Paris on November 9, we can talk about that in person. I don't know if there are any other questions, but I don't know if many people are still around. 19 hours, okay. I think it was somehow the same amount of people. It will be fantastic to see you also, if you can switch on your camera, because it's very strange to speak to myself in this quiet environment. No one is there. Yeah.
Hey Milo, no, it's as it's a webinar, they actually can't switch on their cameras.
Okay.
So so they can only see us. But I think that's it. I think all the questions were answered, and I think it was a very interesting discussion. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to chat this today. So yeah, if there's no more questions, I think that's it for today. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And,
take care, everybody.
Yeah, see you in Paris.
Bye. See you in Paris. Bye.
Bye bye.